Welcome to the channel, everyone. I'm George.
I'm Stav.
Today we're going to be continuing working on the Audi RS3 VR6 swap and attempting, I repeat, attempting our first start as we just received our... Stav wired it. That's why he's going to bring the fire bottle over. But we're going to be attempting the first start as Ryan from Cybex just sent the base file over. We're going to have to update the ECU. We're going to show you guys how to do that. There's also hyperlinks from Cybex on their YouTube channel, which you can forward, and we'll put it in the description so you guys can check it out. For those of you that are running Cybex or looking to run Cybex and wanting to learn the basics as we are, we're starting out from the ground level and just learning the basics, as Cybex is very vast and there's a lot of information there. But as you guys know, this thing has had a lot of updates. Stav put out a video last week going over some of the wiring updates and the things that he was working on. So Stav, so I don't steal any of your thunder, why don't you tell us what you were working on right after you posted that video? What was the final steps that brought us to this point where we can at least confidently think that we can post or at least try to, you know, give this thing a start and see if it fires up?
Well, a lot of people do accuse you of trying to steal my thunder, but anyway, last time we had we had all the outputs wired in, we had the injectors, the coil packs. But since then, that's terminal A. We have terminal B and C, which is all the inputs, map sensors, map sensor, all the inputs for the ECU, the map sensor, the IAT, flex fuel sensor. We wired it all in. We double checked all the ohming out to the pin, to the sensors. Everything looks correct.
Now, after that stuff, I've also, while you were doing that, I was kind of mocking up a catch-can kit, which I was thinking about mounting behind the motor. So a lot of the guys that have this billet valve cover from HST run the lines across the valve cover and put it here, as we're going to be running a fuel pressure regulator, as now the fuel system is a return style. I opted to just have it behind. Now, I haven't finished the box yet, but I'm thinking pretty much that's where I'm going to put it, and then maybe with another drain towards the bottom. I'm not sure, but that's where we're going to working on in terms of the catch can to make sure we're good. We're also going to make this vented, probably a little cutout here, a little rectangle cutout, maybe a little foam, little vent right there to make sure that it gets enough air so it's able to expel all those crankcase pressure properly once we get the built motor in and start making some power. And then on top of that, guys, we just again received the base file, which may or may not work because the base file is a very rough file. Correct. Just to get everything going. We have really large injectors on this car, 2150 2150 cc. And also want to talk about how much wiring Stav removed from this car, which I'm going to show you here right here in a second. Talk to us, tell us what these components are, the wiring, that wiring, this box that says Cybex on it. Why is it no longer on the car?
Well, this is a third box that goes with the RS3 plug-and-play kit. It's actually what powers the direct injectors. So it's an expander so you can put more outputs. Okay,
so we technically can save this just in case in the future we want to add a second row of injectors if we wanted to.
Correct, we could.
Okay. And then over what, a 1.5 feet worth of wiring we're removing from the car too?
About 18 inches of harness, and this would go into the Cybex ECU along with and this goes into the box. So these are all outputs that we're no longer using.
And then on top of that, again, this would be in the engine bay in that little tough spot, which again, we're going to be moving this ECU inside the cabin, but it's so much easier to troubleshoot an ECU right now in its developmental stage with the VR6 when the harness is only about 1.5 feet versus 5 feet long. Correct. So for now, the ECU is sitting right on top of here, but the goal is to Stav's going to make this loom. If we're confident enough and we can get this thing to fire, and everything looks good according to Ryan when he logs in, then Stav will make an extension harness. This will route the ECU into the glove box so we can clean up the engine bay, plus this won't be exposed to the heat anymore. Stav, can you talk to us now about this stock looking harness here that's no longer on?
Okay, so this is the direct injection harness, no longer needed because we don't have direct injectors.
But this would actually go on the engine. So this went on the engine,
yeah,
and then this is what actually worked with the ECU, the Cybex, to actually drive this stuff.
Correct, yeah, those plugs would go into here, into the stock ECU harness, and basically it's taking up outputs in the stock ECU.
But just because this hooks up to the stock harness and with these plugs, in the future we could save this and use this for whatever we want, repurpose it, right?
If we wanted to, correct, yeah.
Okay, so if we ever wanted to add more sensors, maybe even nitrous control, we can always repurpose a lot of these plugs for other goodies that we could add to the car. But for now, we're not going to have it on. It's just something that we have unplugged and kind of left out.
Correct.
That's awesome. So what's left to do is pretty much update the ECU, make sure that it's on the right firmware. We're going to load the file. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. We're going to try to fire this thing up. Stav's going to have his fire extinguisher ready in his hand. But Stav's going to climb in the driver's seat. He's going to get the laptop going. He's going to take a look at stuff as we're doing it. In fact, we have the laptop pretty much out here. We'll show you what it looks like. but we're going to try to fire this thing up. It is 1 o'clock in the morning right now.
It's 2:15 in the morning, actually.
Is it 2:15?
It's 2:15.
It is 2:15. It's 2:15 in the morning. My garage is pretty much well insulated. I don't think I'm going to piss off my neighbors too much.
We will definitely be pissing off the neighbors.
If it does fire up, the downpipe is not connected to the rest of the exhaust. So right now it is VR6 open dump.
Super quiet. Super quiet, yeah.
So let's show you guys how we're going to load the file on the computer real quick. Excuse the glare on the screen. And again, we'll include some of these links from Cyvex in the description so you guys can follow along on your own. But we'll just show you what we're doing on our laptop, and then Stav's going to climb in the driver's seat and see if this thing is going to make some Wookiee noises.
I wired it. Of course it's going to fire. Come on.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have the right fire. So Stav, why don't you take this with you?
Always use safety.
So we're gonna try to get this thing started up. This is the SCAL file. I'm gonna pull up the custom base file that we have for the RS3 to work with the RS3 trans that Ryan provided. I'm gonna load it just to make sure everything loads. If everything looks good, I'm gonna flash it onto the ECU, and then we're gonna get Stav in the car real quick. So everything looks good. It's not gonna let me connect while this is loaded. So I'm gonna close this out, and then we'll connect the ECU here in just a second. Stav's gonna turn the key real quick, so to speak. He's gonna hit that start button. There's a couple of things, Stav, don't hit it yet. 1 second. There's a couple of things I wanna look for. We wanna look for fuel leaks, make sure there's anything that we need to tighten down. We're gonna be cranking this motor if in fact it accepts the base file, and make sure everything goes off nicely. We're gonna make sure we don't have any oil leaks as well. There's no coolant lines attached to the motors. I'm gonna make those pretty much last. Kind of kicking myself for not making them now, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning with an open dump. I'm not going to be able to leave this thing running for too much longer. But I want to make sure, number one, there's no fuel leaks. There's nothing seeping out. I want to make sure that, number one, that the injector is actually prime. So our biggest concern with a lot of this custom wiring is making sure that everything works flawlessly like it did before, electronically speaking. Obviously, we're not there yet. We haven't even started this fucker yet. But keep in mind, this is the biggest hurdle for us. Putting this VR6 together, mating it up to the VR6, to the DSG, to the RS3 trans. So far, we've done it, but getting electronically, all this communicating correctly, this is still the next hurdle that we're looking to go over. So, number one, we want to make sure that we have oil pressure. So Stav's going to try to crank it, make sure that everything's good. And if we do fire this thing up, I'm not going to keep it running for that long. Number one, there's no coolant lines. Number two, I didn't really prime the oiling system, and it's just a stock motor anyway, so I'm not too worried about spinning a bearing on a stock motor or anything like that. This is a sacrificial VR6 motor that's in the bay that we're using for mock-up, wire-up, and the first fire-up. So, yeah, wish us good luck. Stav, do me a favor, kiddo. Hit that prime button. I'm going to see if there's any fuel leaks or anything like that. Hold on. I got a little bit of fuel. I got fuel dripping from the fuel pressure regulator from the sensor. Okay, that's where it's dripping from. I just saw it, and I didn't look anywhere else to see if it was dripping. Do me a favor, reprime it again. Reprime it again.
Prime.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it dripping from anywhere else, but it was now I'm seeing it was dripping from right here, this little elbow. So we'll fix that. It's away from the exhaust. So, I don't know, Stav. You wanna? It's just dripping from the fuel pressure regulator. Do you wanna just say fuck it and just crank it?
You want me to crank it?
Yeah, just crank. It's away from the exhaust, and you got the fire extinguisher, right? So I think we're okay. Give it a fire.
1 second.
I hear noises. Here, while you're doing that, I'm going to connect the ECU. You scared the shit out of me. I was sitting down in front of the computer. I literally just sat down to connect the ECU, you fucking jerk. Holy fuck. Did you cut that off, or did it cut off by itself?
No, I cut it off.
You did?
Yeah.
All right, do me a favor. Hey, hold on. I don't see anything else leaking from the floor. Fuck, I smell the fumes already. Yeah, it was just dripping from this little, we're gonna have to fix this little elbow here.
All right.
See if it starts, and just let it idle for like 10 seconds.
All right.
This is open dump. Poor Cleo's like scared, she's hearing it. Hold on, hey, I'm gonna put the dog inside. Go ahead, Cleo, come on. Inside, baby. Go inside, go. She's scared of the car. Poor girl. All right, see if you can fire it up again.
Shut off on its own on that one, but
Shut off on its own?
Obviously, you know, need some adjustment on the base.
Yeah, the fuel tables and all that other stuff. But it fires, man. It fires. It runs! It runs! It runs! Well, for like 20 seconds or 15 seconds, but I think the injector, I was looking at the injector maps trying to learn about the Cyvex and looking at all the tables and everything. The injectors we have there are 2150s.
It's not scaled for the injectors you have.
It's probably a lot of things that we need to adjust on the fly, but hey, when I was sitting down and trying to connect the ECU, you scared the shit out of me. I was literally right in front of the car right here when you started it.
That's kind of like the time that you cranked the motor the last time, like 2 weeks ago on the stock ECU when we did on, what's the name? You pressed the crank and I was like, oh, what happened? I'm like,
oh my God, but it fires, kiddo. That means, so we have a small fuel leak on this. Maybe I messed up that install there. It's leaking on this fuel pressure sensor. So we'll fix that.
But means that my wiring is 90% correct.
I'd say let's
85?
let's go with a good 70 right now.
Oh, okay,
with
70,
a good
okay.
70 because that was a quick 10 second run.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this is what we'll do. We're gonna probably have to connect with Ryan, get the base map sorted out just so this way it stays on. Correct. And then while he does that, I'll get on making some coolant lines for this car so we can run some coolant, and then put the front end on with the radiator and get everything going. But fuck, guys. 7.5, 8 months now building this car from scratch with this custom swap, and it fires and it runs.
Correct.
Oh man,
that's cool, man. That's my first wiring project, and it starts.
yeah, no, congratulations. Stav has been busting his butt here for the last few weeks on the wiring. There's still a lot, obviously, we need to learn and do better, but we didn't wrap any of the harness because there's going to be probably some things we're going to have to rewire on the fly and learn. But once we figure this out and get it sorted and get electronically the entire car going, if I can get the front end on stuff, I want to get, if we can get this car base mapped and just running on its own with the coolant lines made here in the next week, I'll throw the front end on, we'll throw the axles and drive shaft on and see if this thing is willing to move on its own around the block and see how it looks, and then we'll connect the exhaust to the catback that's on the car.
Not needed today, George. Not needed.
We saved ourselves. Oh my God, stuff.
It fires,
oh
man.
my God. So I'll finish the catch can. That's going to be the next order of business, guys. I'm going to finish that catch can, probably do a drain that's going to come out to the side of the car so I can drain it on the fly if I need to. I got to finish that. Stav, electronically, is there anything you think you need to do, or is there anything left?
Once we go with Ryan and we get all the inputs working and calibrated, I think we'll know exactly if anything needs to be changed or if any little pins need to be changed. But
While we're on that too, Stav. So I just want a huge shout out to Ryan at Cyvex.
Yeah.
He's the owner of the company, and obviously he's not tuning this car, but he has helped us building a base map for this monstrosity of an engine
and
swap.
answering any questions we've had.
Oh, dude, it's been amazing. And I just want to say, Ryan, if you're watching, those are the guys at Cyvex. Thank you guys for the quick turnaround on the ECU. Thank you guys so much for the quick turnaround on the base file. And we appreciate you guys helping us get this on its feet, which hopefully in the next couple of weeks it's moving on its own.
Technically, it's not on its feet yet. But
yeah, no, technically. But we'll get this thing sorted so this way it's idling correctly and everything's scaled so this way it stays on. But Stav, congratulations on the wiring, dude. That was a good job. Good job.
I'd like to thank everyone.
And who was the guy you hired to wire it while I wasn't here?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone who didn't believe in me.
That was George.
Honestly, half the time when we run into problems, I didn't believe in myself. I was like, okay, we'll just connect it right here, you know?
But listen, we won't pat ourselves in the back too much. So we got it firing, got it communicating with the ECU. If everything this week, Ryan says everything looks good on the ECU communicating-wise, and we'll get it idling and running on its own. And I got to connect the exhaust to the rest of the catback and throw that back on. Then we'll work on cleaning things up, getting the front end on, and actually getting her on her feet and then moving around with this car. As it's been about 7 or 8 months and she's been off her feet. And then while we're doing that, and I won't get ahead of ourselves, boost gauge, they came in. Stav recommended I get this bad boy. He's got it on his B5.
Never recommended you get this boost gauge. You saw Stav have one, and now you want one.
So Stav recommended one because it goes up to about 60 PSI.
Correct.
The old Innovate one that I had goes about to 42, 43. We're going to be going for some big power here in the RS3. So I figured I'd get one. We're going to be installing it inside the base. Stav's going to be wiring it up to the dash. So this way everything lights up as it starts up with the other gauges. But got this thing in. We're going to be putting this in this week. So look out for another video. We'll get another video as we get Ryan to log in and get this thing firing, idling. I'll hook up the rest of the downpipe to the exhaust. Maybe even get this thing revving. You guys can hear what it sounds like. maybe do a comparison video to what the car used to sound like.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there. But guys, I don't want to ramble on. Wait. What did I do?
6 is greater than 5.
So, Sav, we're going to the drag strip tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Get this thing ready tomorrow.
9-5 or bust. Basically.
So, guys, I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for tagging along and watching this video and kind of sticking with us as we're putting together this swap and getting it going. But she's running. What's today's date? Hold on. What's today's date?
Hold on one second.
April 26th, 2021. She's running.
We might be in a new garage next time because your neighbors are going to kick us out for this.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm telling you this right now. My neighbors are probably...
Yeah.
If you guys are watching and you guys are following and you guys are my neighbors, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. We needed to make sure. We just got the file. It's 10 a.m. or after 10 a.m. in Dubai. So when we got the file, we had to just see if it worked, get it loaded, get it working, and seeing it fired up. And as you guys saw, it did. And I'm beyond ecstatic for it. So guys, without further ado, I'm going to wrap up this video. We'll catch you guys in another video this weekend as we're buttoning up this bitch, getting it calibrated, getting it idling right, getting it, base mapped. And then on the road to make some Wookiee noises. And then we're going to be talking about the built motor, which we barely even spoke about last year. We talked about the specs, we talked about the parts, but actually assembling it.
So you're finally on with that 12 valve. I'm really proud of you, man.
Getting it together and then getting it into the RS3 so we can make some power. Exciting stuff. I'm George.
I'm Stav.
This is Malaka MotorSports. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much.